Well, welcome to me trying and sort of failing to make a Zuko Blue Spirit cosplay. I bought this cloth at Hobby Lobby. It was pretty good. I do have to say though that I'll mention this later in the video, but it was really pigmented. My hands got covered in the stuff. So did my sewing machine, like the pigment of the cloth or whatever. So wash your cloth before you sew. I learned that now. Anyway, so I did not have a pattern to follow. As you can see, I grabbed a hoodie and then I just kind of mangled it into the correct position so that I could get the bodice, I guess you would call it. And I just used that as like this rough little outline, and then I took a Sharpie because nothing else was dark enough, and I figured no one would see the Sharpie on this super dark cloth anyway. And then I just outlined the edges of the hoodie, and this was for the back of the shirt because the shirt itself is like it crosses in the front sort of. So the back would be solid and then the front would be in two pieces that overlap. So this was for the back, and then I used the same pattern for the front, which I don't think I show. But then I just kind of cut it weird so that it would overlap and be like the front part of his design. So, yeah, just went over that with a Sharpie. It was really hard to see. Definitely didn't make it that easy to cut, but we went for it. So I just cut the whole thing out. Side note, my sewing scissors are a mess. That's why you see me keep, like, pausing, and also because I couldn't see the Sharpie. So I kept pausing because my sewing scissors weren't working, and also I wasn't sure what I was cutting out. Definitely plan your cosplays out beforehand. This is called Grace discovered that she had like a week left before she needed this cosplay to be ready, and she'd never sewn a cosplay before, so this happened, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, but definitely helps if you actually plan stuff out before, so do that. Yeah. It does work though to just use random pieces of clothing. I've done this before. NC's done this before. Well, I mean, I haven't done this before in this type of thing, but I've done it before to design cosplays, and now I've done it to sew a cosplay, and NC's done it to sew cosplays. So, it works, kind of, sort of, if you can't afford to buy a pattern, or if you don't have time to find a pattern, which were both the case in this scenario. So, yeah, we just cut stuff out and went for it. Also, I was learning how to use a sewing machine on this, so you'll see some adventures with that in the future, and they're fun, but yeah, get ready for that. I don't know what else to say at this point, so I'm gonna shut up. So, I basically used the same concept for this part, which is where I cut out the sleeves, and I used the same hoodie. I was using a hoodie because I wanted it to be baggy, because Zuko's outfit is kind of baggy on him. So, I just picked my baggiest hoodie, and I used that. And, so yeah, I just laid out the sleeve, and obviously, like, I couldn't do the top, or the top end of the sleeve. I don't know what you would call that, but I just did the sides, and I was going to do the sleeves shorter anyway, because you know there's like the bulge halfway down his arm, and then it's like skin tight the rest of the way. So I used an undershirt for the skin tight part, and then I was just going to make this really thick and loose. And so I only did like not even 3/4 sleeves. They only went to like my elbow-ish. But I just laid the shirt against the sleeve part, and here's a tip. This doesn't work unless you're going to gather the sleeve, which I know now because I've actually sewn something with a pattern now, but I did not know this at the time. So I just outlined that as if it would fit into the shirt, which was dumb because you sew the shirt inside out, so the curve doesn't go against the other curve. You'll see what I mean. It's a mess, but it did work, mostly. So, yeah, I cut that out. I cut it short, like I said, and then I just cut out, like, 4 of these. And I'm pretty sure I I copied this thing 4 times, which didn't make the sleeves great, but it was good enough. Yeah, so I have that one, and then I have 2. And then I took those, and I have 4. So, yeah. And then I just took the bodice part, and this is how I did the front overlap and majiggy thingies. And just outlined that, and then did like the crossway thingies. So I had to outline it twice, because obviously I couldn't just cut it in half or something. I wish I had, and that was my initial idea, and then I realized it was a dumb idea. But yeah, just did that twice to get overlapping parts, and I had to remember how his actually overlapped and do it the same. And then here's the other fun thing. I discovered I don't have pins. I have pins now, but yeah, this was before the dragon scale armor cosplay, so I bought those pins that I used in that cosplay after discovering I didn't have pins here. I thought I had some in my little sewing kit thing. I didn't. So I'm using needles. This isn't a good idea. I stepped on a needle later in the week. Thankfully, it didn't go into my foot, but I did step on it, and it did freak me out. As you can see, curve of the sleeves don't fit together. So I just cut it because whatever, who cares? You know what? It's fine. We'll make it work. And it did work. But yeah, needle pins and stupid sleeves. That was that was the start of this video, and that's how it went. Also, as you will see here, that doesn't fit. So we just scrunched it, and we kind of made it fit, and we trimmed the fabric a little bit to force it to fit. It's like that one Rerun and Snoopy conversation where they're doing a puzzle, and Lucy comes up and he explains that if the puzzle piece doesn't fit, then they just stomp out in it until it fits. Anyway, so I finally got the sewing machine up, and sewing machines stink. Like, they're kind of evil gremlin creatures. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm pretty sure this is a universal experience with people who have sewing machines, and it's awful. But it got stuck so many times. I will point out places where it got stuck, and also the needle did wonky things. I have videos of that too in the future. That's what you have to look forward to. But yeah, sewing started, and I was super excited because it was actually working, and it did work mostly on the bodice. I do have to say that. Stuck a few times, a bunch of like knots got made. Does anyone know why that happens? I was told it was a tension issue, and I would just like change my tension every time it happened, and it would kind of fix itself. Mostly. The one time it got really badly stuck, but most of the time just changing the tension worked. So I guess if you're trying this and you're a new sewer person and you get stuck, try changing the tension, because it did technically work for me. I don't know if that's actually advice I should be giving, but that's how I solved that problem. So yeah. Also, I did learn later that you can just like start sewing, then go backwards, then go forwards, then go backwards, then go forwards, and that knots your fabric. I didn't do that, so I was knotting it by hand afterwards. Don't do that. It's way easier to just go backwards, forwards, than just sew like normal. Just do that. Definitely works way better. It leaves you way more confident. So yeah, I just sewed up all the sleeves to the bodice, and yeah, I think it got stuck here a little bit. You can see me kind of fiddling with it. I also was starting in a weird way so that like my fabric kept getting jammed in the bottom. So make sure that you have enough fabric out at the top that it's not going to get stuck, like out at the top of the foot pedal thing, so that the pedal doesn't catch on it and then just hold it and then just sews a bunch of stuff right there, like just piles thread upon itself, because that does not lead to good places. It does not. And I found that out, and now if you are watching this video and you're about to start sewing, you don't have to. Hopefully. You probably will anyway, because like I said, sewing machines are evil gremlins, but you might have a better chance. So yeah, make sure you're not going to get stuck on your little foot pedal thingy. And yeah, so then I got the thing working, and I just went for it and kept sewing the bodice. Also, it's probably not called a bodice, because I feel like a bodice is for a dress, but like the the middle part of the shirt. I don't know what else it would be called, but that thing. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it was sewed. There's a seam. That's cool. Yeah. So anyway, my camera fell for a second, but this was what it was looking like. I was very proud of myself, very happy with how it was turning out. I still needed to hem mostly. That was pretty much all I needed to do left, so that's me doing that here. And I had an idea for the sleeves, which I did leave in the video because I did try it, so like I wanted to show everything that I messed up on. It was bad, but you'll see that. But yeah, this is just me hemming stuff, and it was going well, and life was good. I don't know what is going on with this fabric right now. But look at my fingers. It's like so pigmented. I probably should have washed it before I started this, but you know what? It's fine. Also, this is a hilarious camera angle. So yeah, wash your cloth. But anyway, this is where I was at this point. Pretty sure the only thing I had left to do at this point was the sleeve idea I had, or just hem them. I could have just hemmed them, but it looked cool. I was very happy. Oh, I also had the buttons to put on. And I'm not sure if I was talking to the camera there, but if I was, I cut it out because I said nothing of importance. Here was my idea. Take elastic. I almost called that Velcro. It's not Velcro. It's elastic. Take elastic. Oh my goodness. Cut it so that it fit around the part of my arms that I wanted the sleeves to fit around the same way that Zuko's do. And then sew it into the end of the sleeves, obviously, so that it'll, fit around my arms. But, so I tried it. I will explain why it didn't work in a few moments. But, I think I'm singing to a song there. I'm making faces, but whatever, it's fun. I thought I was having fun. I was having fun. Then I wasn't having fun. But currently I was having fun. And, cut my elastic pieces, pulled out my sleeve, and I basically just kind of tried to pin it in there and then fold the cloth so that I could sew up the edges of the cloth without actually sewing the elastic, because I was pretty sure that if I sewed the elastic, well, I did sew the elastic into part of the seam thing just so that it had an anchor, but I didn't want to sew the rest of the elastic in because I was pretty sure it would mess up the elastic. I don't know if that's true. Someone say in the comments if that's true. But yeah, so I basically just pinned it in there. It was a struggle, let me tell you, to sew this thing into the sleeve. I don't know how you're supposed to do elastic, but I didn't do it right, and that was probably part of the problem. You can see me having a brain melt right now. Yeah, this was over my head, and I will have to come back to elastic at some point and figure that out, because I'm sure I will need it at some point, but I did not need it this time, and thank God, because I wasn't gonna make it work. But so yeah, that you see that bunchy, scrunchy looking thing? That is what I wound up with, and yeah, I went in with a seam ripper and I ripped it all out, because not only did it look ugly and it looked like a girl scrunchie on my arm instead of Zuko's nicely gathered sleeves, it looked like a scrunchie and it was cutting off my circulation. And it just looks better for me to have, you know, them kind of loose. It still looks baggy enough. So, yeah, this is me putting the buttons on now. This was the final touch for the shirt. I was very happy to have the shirt done. And, aside from the whole sleeve debacle, it went pretty well. So, yeah, that was working out, and next step was the pants. So, as you can see, I did the pants pretty much the same way I did the top. I used pajama pants, outlined it, cut most of that out because you already know what I'm doing. Then I cut it all out. I cut 4 pieces for the pants, and I just did the one side, then I flipped it over, then I turned the pants and folded them the other way, did the one side, flipped it over, and basically, you know, just did that kind of thing. It was pretty simple. It seemed to me like it was going to work, and technically it did. So then, yeah, just cut everything out. As you can see, just outlined it all again. I didn't retrace any of the pieces, I don't think, because I was afraid that it would just do something weird, which is probably true. It probably would have done something weird, but yeah. Anyway, that was a pair of pajama pants, because again, I wanted it to be baggy, and I don't really have any baggy pants, because I don't like baggy pants, but I had those PJs, and yay, more needles for pins, because I still hadn't bought pins. But yeah, this is where I made one of my first mistakes on the pants, first of many. Technically not at this moment, but in a few seconds here, you will see what my mistake was. Pinning everything up very nicely, very nice, and no, I did not need to pin there, because I'm not making a skirt. Those pieces aren't supposed to go together, but I pinned them together because for some reason my brain thought they were supposed to go together. So, yeah, thank goodness you can take seams out, because yes, as you can see right here, I started sewing and I sewed everywhere that the pins were. So, I just sewed all the way down. Also, my table, side note, is a plastic fold-out table that I use for resin stuff, because I don't have a space in my room that I can consistently do crafts, so I set up a table to do stuff. And it shook so bad. My sewing machine, I mean, you can see it jiggling right there, like, it's crazy. It kept slowly moving towards me, which also meant that I was, like, pulling on the fabric back there, because it didn't come out as well. But, yeah. Oh, here we go. The happiness of realizing I sewed the wrong stuff together. So, thread ripper, or seam ripper, again. Here we go. Just rip the whole nice thing that I just did out. That was fun. Again, first of many mistakes that I made on the pants. Pants are apparently hard for my brain to understand. So, yeah, once I had those parts out, I just grabbed my other pieces. See, that looks kind of nice. And then I took my other thing that the front of the pants that I had also sewed together, and I laid them on top, and I was just going to pin it up the sides, pin everything that I could, just to, you know, sew it all up, because I wanted to get this over with. But as you can see, the pieces didn't technically fit, but I just kind of quote-unquote matched them up as best as I could, and then I just pinned it all up, and I figured, you know what, even if they don't match, it doesn't super matter. Like, it probably does, but it doesn't super matter in this moment. I can just sew up the sides, sew up the middle parts, and they'll probably still fit, right? They sort of did. I didn't have this in the video because I did this a couple days later, but I did go back and I cut down the side of the pants and I put in a zipper. And it made it so much easier because the waist was so small, there was no stretchiness in this material, and that was a mistake. It was really hard to get them on, so I just put a zipper in. But, yeah, this is where I started getting the most knots in my thread. As you can see, again, I didn't put enough fabric out under the foot lever thing, so it just kept getting stuck. It was bad. I was very frustrated at certain points in this process, and I didn't film as much of the pants because when I was like freaking out trying to figure out how to make my stupid machine work, I was just like, I'm not gonna film this because, first of all, I don't know what to film because I don't know when I'm gonna figure the problem out. And second of all, I don't know what I'm doing, and filming is just one extra thing that's going to distract me. So I filmed the parts where I felt like I kind of knew what I was doing, even though I probably didn't. And yeah, that was less on the pants, so there was less filming done there. But it was fine. I got the pants sewn up the sides. The fabric or the thread kept sticking really bad in the middle. You can see I'm having consternation right there. I don't know what my machine is doing. I'm confused. But you just got to keep trying when you're learning. That's what I learned in this thing. You just got to keep trying. The second time I brought my machine out, I made my sister a dress, and you know what? My machine didn't stick, like, at all. I don't know what I did differently, but you know what? It was better, and I will accept that as I did something, even though I probably didn't. The gremlins in the machine probably just favored me that time, but I'm going to take that as a win. Anyway, so yeah, I just did some more pinning, kept working at it. Every time it got stuck, I kind of just fiddled with the machine and the tension until it started working again. And one time I did have to leave it for like an hour before all of a sudden it was just like, okay, I'm happy now, and I'm going to sew. And I was like, all right, that's great. I wish you'd done that before, but at least you're doing it now. So, yeah. Frustrations. Lots of them. But in the end, we got a product. So, that's all that matters, I think. So this was also something that happened. The needle just bent. And it did that twice. So that was cool, and I don't know why. Also, this is all the pigment that was on the sewing machine. I'm going to put the other piece up to it, and you can see how white it is against the rest of it. So that was happening, but like I said, the pants got done. That needle breaking was the last major problem with the pants, and then I moved on to the belt. So for the belt, as you just saw, I just measured my waist. I have this black stretchy fabric because I wanted the belt to be form-fitting, because his kind of looks form-fitting, so I got stretchy fabric because I figured that would be more form-fitting, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so I did that. I measured it out. I measured how long I wanted it to be. I cut in a very bad position, but I didn't really care because I was I was so ready to be done with this cosplay. So I just, you know what? I was watching Spy X Family, and by the way, that's a great anime. You guys should go watch it if you haven't watched it yet. Go watch it. But anyway, I was watching that. I was chilling, and I just cut it however I want. So yeah, that's what you're seeing here. Okay, so I sped this up, but basically this is just me sewing the little buttons on. I had two on each end, and then this was the final product. So yeah, on each of the corners there's a button, or well, a clasp, and then they just attach to each other at the back, and it worked pretty well. Total honesty, I did have to go back because I wasn't satisfied. Perfectionist in me got annoyed, and I made a bigger belt, but this one would have worked. So yeah, it looked pretty good, and I was very happy, and also very happy to be close to being done. And here's the final product. I look like a hobgoblin, but I was very excited, as you can see, and I think that it actually looked pretty cool. For my first attempt sewing something, you know what? It wasn't awful. And it worked for the cosplay for the event that I was going to, and I loved it. So, fully recommend getting into sewing your own stuff. It is a pain. You will make mistakes. You know what? All that good stuff. But at the end of the day, you will feel amazing and super epic, even if you look like a hobgoblin.